Morning. Out for my morning walk. Oh my gosh. This is the first morning that it's like so cool out. I'm actually wearing like pants. Oh my gosh, you guys, this is what life is all about. It's amazing. It feels so good out here. So happy. Just wanted to share this moment with you. I suffered through the summer and we're on our way into fall. Thank God. All right. I hope you have a great day. Bye. Good morning. Just made the big long commute to my office from the kitchen. So I'm having a little bit of sort of a snack before breakfast. I don't know. Maybe this is breakfast. I don't know. But I'm having fruit. It's some figs and a green apple. Trying to cut back a little bit on sugar. So this is my breakfast. I don't know if I like green apples anymore. It's been a long time since I had them, so maybe I'll think they're really sour, but that's okay. That's what I'm going for right now. Less sugar. So I have a few meetings. That's why I wanted to just get some food in me before the meetings, and then probably in a little bit I'll have the eggplant roll-ups because I'm actually really excited about having those. Yeah, it's definitely, kind of sour. Granny Smith apple, hello, but it's doable. I'll adjust. When I was a kid, my mom taught me to eat Granny Smith apples with salt on top of it. I tell you, it's like the best combination ever. It tastes so good. I really wish I had some salt right now, but this is actually not bad. And now that I feel like I'm sort of mentally and emotionally ready to cut back on the natural sugars a little bit, I'm happy to have this, and I don't feel mad, like, or pissed off that I have to eat it. You know what I mean? This versus a Fuji or something like that. So crap, I forgot I haven't cooked this yet, so I gotta cook it. It's like 11:30 already. Hungry. So I snacked on some grapes, and I'm having a little chickpeas, a couple of these tomatoes. I'm a little disappointed because I really wanted eggplant roll-ups right now for breakfast. It's so late already, but I'll switch it around and have the kale soup now and maybe a little bit of Mexican salad or something. I have a meeting in a half hour. Then once that's done, I'll be able to resume my normal eating. Alright, so I'm having the rest of these veggies plus some dip I made the other day. Some of these beans, chickpeas, and then I'm also having my kale soup. This is sort of lunch before my meeting, and then maybe I'll do like a regular salad and the eggplant roll-ups for dinner later.
When you do raw veggies with dip like this, I never really did this before, like with a meal, but when you do this, you actually get pretty full. Even with a fairly small amount of veggies, but really low calories. But when you have a really good dressing like this, well, this wasn't good enough, but if you have a really good dip that you like, you could eat so many of these.
It's done, it's done. Yum. Alright, just wanted to make a note about this video that I watched the other day. I kind of forgot to mention it, but what really struck me. So one thing about this film that struck me was kind of how theatrical it was. There's like these sort of illustrations of the guy, and he's like demonstrating these concepts. Those actually, just so you know, there's somebody here that's like bothering me, but I'm just gonna ignore her. But these demonstrations were kind of a little bit distracting for me as I was watching the film. I know they were meant to entertain, but to me it was like just a little bit too distracting. I think I missed some of the concepts actually because I was so distracted by like, what is he trying to illustrate right now? But there was this one that was really cool where he was talking about like a trigger, and he mentioned something that kind of hit me, and I want to reiterate it to you because it was important to me. This hit me, this idea. He says, he was talking about how the signals work in our brain when we're eating food, like if you're eating something sweet or whatever. He has this example of a milkshake, and he says something like, the first step is that you see the food And then he says, this is what hit me. He says, whether it's a picture of it or the real thing. That's what hit me. Because, of course, we know, like, when we see, you know, advertisements or whatever, we're triggered to, like, eat something or whatever. But I never really, like, thought too much about that concept that it doesn't even have to actually be the actual food to trigger us, right? Like, we all know if something just pops in our mind and I think about pizza, then I'm like, oh, I want pizza. So this is the concept, right? Is that, oh, really, Moo, right now? Really? Talk about distractions. What? She's gonna get on my shoulder. She's so needy. Okay, clearly it's moo time. All right, what I was saying was this idea that you don't even have to have the food in front of you. I know this is very obvious, but what I'm trying to say is that it reminds me that our brains are so vulnerable to what we see that we have to protect ourselves. We have to protect what comes in front of our eyes. We have to protect what pops into our minds. That's why 100% the reason why I do not watch TV, because first of all, I can't stand the advertisements anyways. Like, in general, I cannot stand commercials. They bug me. But also, I don't know how many times I've gone out and eaten something because I was triggered by some advertisement I saw. Or, like, for instance, I used to be, when I was binging on pizza a lot last year, I got on the Domino's email list so I could get deals, and I would buy the pizzas when I would get the deals in the email, and I thought it was really great, but I was like, oh man, I wish I wasn't eating so much pizza, but at least I'm saving money, blah, blah, blah. Then I realized after a few months after I, like, gave it up and was like, no more pizza, I had to get off the email list, because even if I saw the word Domino's in my email box, I'd be like flooded with, like, just images and thoughts and, like, oh my God, I have to have it. And I couldn't give it up. I couldn't get it out of my mind. So I had to actually physically unsubscribe from the email list because I just couldn't, because it was too sensitive for me. I couldn't do it. So this idea that we have to protect what we see. We have to protect what we are bombarded with. And, like, I know it's like a challenge, even if you work at a regular office where people are bringing in donuts or they're bringing in, like, whatever kind of food it is, that you then have to block that out too. Just, there's so many places that you can be bombarded with these messages. So protecting your little ears and your little eyes from marketing and from just any kind of imagery. Even, even like little things when you smell things or whatever, that's something that I've changed now too, is that for me, it's changed so much that smells used to be too much of a trigger for me, similarly to seeing pictures of things or getting emails about things or whatever. So I would smell chicken, or I would smell, like if you smell barbecue or something like that, that's a very triggering type of a thing. Or you smell someone cooking whatever, or you go past McDonald's and you smell fried food or these kinds of things. It's like such a trigger. Actually, what ended up happening was last year, I remember we lived in an apartment complex in Sarasota that somebody near us used to cook all the time, and I would go past their apartment and it would be meat based. I could tell it was like steak or chicken or something like that. And I would always go past their apartment and I would just stop and I would just smell. And I did this, and I wasn't even trying to do it on purpose. It just happened naturally. I would use that as sort of an exercise in self-control, going, okay, smell it. You can't have it because clearly you don't know those people and you can't just like walk into their house and ask for barbecue. But like I would think to myself, like, okay, appreciate the smell of this. Remember what it tastes like, because you know exactly what it tastes like, exactly what it feels like in your mouth to eat it, to chew it, to have that whole experience. You know what that's like. Just appreciate the smell of it. Imagine what it was like to eat it before and move on. And I would do that. And I had to do that a lot because these people would cook a lot. And it ended up being a thing that really sort of got me into shape about smells, I feel like. I'm just like, oh, I'm going to appreciate what that must taste like, but I'm not going to actually go and buy it. I mean, I remember back in the day, like when I used to live in New York, I used to get, my cheat meal used to be a sausage McMuffin. And from McDonald's, I used to love those. I'm sure I still love them. They're delicious, right? And then I replaced that with the turkey bacon egg sandwich from Starbucks for years. I used to have that all the time, at least 2, 3, 4 times a week. I just loved it. And so now when I think about those foods, I can sort of have that experience without actually having the experience. So that's a note I wanted to make about this. It was really powerful for me watching this film. There's another one I'm going to get more details on and say something in a second. Clearly, we are having moo time right now. If you are unaware, this is a mandatory time we have during the day where whenever she sees fit, we must be together, and I must put my finger in her mouth like that, and then she makes this little weird, oh, now she's not doing it. Oh. She does this for like quite a while until she's satisfied, and then she just walks away. But clearly that's what we're doing right now. Moo. Oh my god, she's so cute. This is so cute. I love you.
In terms of weight, I gained 8.5 kilograms overall, but perhaps the most enlightening of my results was the calorie count. As I've discovered, my calorie intake was virtually the same as my pre-experiment diet. The big difference was the source of the calories. I'd pretty much done a direct swap of healthy fats for sugar-laden products.
So that was really the mind-blowing part here, is the whole calorie thing. And I'd heard this before, but it's hard to know this because we all have different bodies. There's no great studies that have been done on this yet. Nobody ever talks about this. You never hear this. This idea that calories are not equal. Like when you have, 100 calories of broccoli or you eat 100 calories of steak, those are very different calories. You're going to get very different things. Your body's going to do very different things with those calories. So you can't think that as long as you're eating 2,000 calories of some Weight Watchers food, and it can be anything, literally, it could be Taco Bell, as long as you're having the right amount of points, that's going to act the same as if you had 2,000 calories of some plant-based whole foods. It doesn't act the same in your body. I mean, think about it, like, anyways, all of those foods have different amounts of antioxidants, different amounts of fiber, different amounts of vitamins, minerals, everything, different amounts of fats, carbohydrates, proteins. So of course your body's going to do different things with those foods. And just because you have a different amount of calories of one versus the other, like say if you eat 100 calories of broccoli, that's like this much broccoli. If you eat 100 calories of steak, that's like this much steak. So clearly, like, you might think, oh, well, if you think of it on those terms, of course you're going to be, imagine this much broccoli, what amazing stuff that must be in there for your body. Versus this much steak, like what not amazing things, like all the saturated fat and all the cholesterol and stuff that you're getting from those kinds of foods. And then just no fiber in the meat whatsoever. I mean, animal products don't have any fiber in them. I mean, when you think about it on those terms, clearly, like, there's a massive difference for your body. So you can't just count calories. You have to have different types of foods from the standard American diet. It's not about calories. And so that was really interesting to see that even though he ate the same amount of calories over this month or whatever it was, month and a half, he gained like, I don't know, what was it? He gained like 19 pounds or something. Like he gained so much weight and he looked so much more terrible than what he looked like before. I mean, just over that short time period that he did this experiment, he gained all this weight and was eating the same amount of calories. That shows you something. It's really, really important to eat the right calories as well. And then you don't have to get caught up in this, like, really annoying crap of having to count calories and, do all this math. Like, just eat stuff. Like, just eat food. And it can taste amazing after a while. But you have to get to that point, which, you know, it's like a detox. It's like you have to go through a few months of not liking what you're doing, not understanding what you're doing, needing to learn new recipes, needing to learn new ways to cook, but you can get there, and then your body becomes a machine. It knows what it's doing. It keeps you at a really great weight. I mean, look, I've been slightly binging here and there on certain things. I still have very similar patterns to what I did before, but at least I'm binging on things that are healthy. I haven't changed weight. Like, before, if I had binged the amount of times that I've binged in the last, month since I stopped the challenge, I would have gained 5, 7, 10 pounds already. Seriously, like, that's a very common problem for me, that I would gain it back immediately, and I would have to go on a challenge again in, 6 months or something and try it again. Yeah, so that's all I want to say. Bye! Alright, I got hungry pretty quick. It's about 3:30, and I really just wanted to eat now. So, having my Mexican salad, I added a little bit of pomegranate seeds because I had them. I don't love that, but I wanted to eat them, so I put some in. And then I also warmed up my eggplant roll-ups and put some chickpeas on top. This is a ton of food if you don't notice. This is a full plate of food plus a salad the size of my torso, and I'm gonna do everything I can to eat the whole thing. Alright, I killed the salad. Have a little tomatoes for snackies. Now I'm on to the eggplant roll-ups. Big huge plate with some chickpeas in there too. I've been doing this thing for the last couple days, which is I'm trying not to have so much sugar. So I've been telling myself, whenever I crave banana ice cream, you can have banana ice cream, but you have to have a full meal of vegetables and beans and stuff first. Then you can have the banana ice cream. Yesterday I was successful in avoiding it because I was like full and I didn't want any other food, so maybe that will happen again today, but I just have to make sure I eat this first before I go to the fridge and make some ice cream. I did it. I actually did not enjoy it, but I did it. Now I'm stuffed. I'm gonna let this sit for a minute, have some water, have a little bit of these tomatoes. I am stuffed right now. And then I'm going to see what happens with my cravings. Alright, something interesting has happened today. If you guys have been following along and you know what I'm like, you know that I've had at least a straight month or more of very heavy cravings in the afternoon, usually between like 1 and 7 p.m. And if I don't eat something super sugary to get through that, then I can't stop thinking about that food, whatever it might be. Yesterday, I powered through and did not let myself have anything sweet or overly sweet. I only used regular fruit, no dates or anything like that, but nothing overly sweet on purpose. It was difficult, but I did it. Today, I had that lunch around 3, massive lunch. Would account for having lunch and dinner technically, because I had a massive salad and then a massive portion of eggplant roll-ups, and I ate it all at once, so it really filled me up. It's now 8 o'clock. I ate at 3:30 or 4-ish. Now 8 o'clock. I'm still not even close to hungry, not interested, and I have not had any cravings. I was going to record this video earlier, but I was afraid of jinxing it because I thought, oh, maybe in an hour or two I'll start to have cravings. No cravings at all. I remember this actually from when I first started Eat to Live years ago, 3.5 years ago. I remember I would have massive amounts of food. Even if I didn't want them, I would still force myself to eat them in order to get, fruits and veggies in during the day. And I just, like, the idea of cravings being blunted, that is how it always was. Just, like, blunt. Like, okay, I might have a thought or two of, like, something, but I'm just like, I don't feel like getting up and making it. Or, I might think of ice cream or something, but I actually even went to the kitchen, was cleaning up the eggplant dish, putting in the fridge and stuff, and I was like, ice cream, I don't really want it. Like, I don't feel like making it, not really interested. And I was kind of having that idea, like, I wanted it in the afternoon, and then I thought, well, I'll just have a huge meal, and if I can get through the meal and I still want it, then I'll have it. And at the end of it, I was just like, ugh, I don't want it. Guys, what? Could be a fluke, but this is actually very similar to what I experienced kind of a lot in the very beginning. Long term, and even with PMS symptoms and stuff like that, I was able to have the same kind of reaction where I might think of something, but then I'll just be like, I don't feel like it. That's not me. So, yeah. That's cool. We'll see what happens with it, right? The key is that I have to force myself to eat. In the afternoon, I have to force myself to have a huge veggie bean meal. I've been eating a lot of beans in the last 2 days, like tons. Having them for snacks, having them first thing in the morning. With each meal, I just put a bunch on there. And my digestion, I never have a problem with beans or anything like that. When I'm eating nutritarian, I never have digestion issues. So everything's always great and, like clockwork and wonderful and stuff and no issues. So I've been really pleased with that as well. And yeah, so knock on wood. Let me know your experience with this kind of stuff. I know some of you are really, really good nutritarians. You're like 100% perfect, like no issues with being a nutritarian. And a lot of us are still struggling to figure things out and get things fixed. So let me know your experience with this. Have you been successful at blunting cravings and not having to worry about it for a period of time? What was it that made you successful during those periods of time? Let me know down in the comments, and bye. Have a good day. Guys, it's 10 p.m. and I haven't even had a single craving all day. What's wrong with me? I am just editing a video for the latest recipe, which is homemade almond milk. So look out for that soon.